What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Life's a Dance podcast. I am your host, Trey Culata. Thank you, as always, for joining me, pressing play, supporting the channel, because I am on a mission to try and help all of us figure out what the hell we're doing here, try and demystify that thing in between our ears that we call the human mind, because it's crazy up there, and, figure out how we can live our most authentic lives and be our most authentic selves, because that is what this life is all about. So today I am talking about a concept that if you can grasp it and actually implement it into your everyday life, you are going to instill so much more confidence and get so much more done and accomplished. Throughout the span of your lifetime, really. And this concept is often referred to as eating the frog. And basically what eating the frog is symbolic of is doing the thing that you least want to do very first thing out of the gate. And it doesn't necessarily have to be right after you get up in the morning, but let's say you're at work and you have a big project you're working on. But rather than working on the project, you are checking your email, you're scrolling on Facebook, you're chit-chatting with coworkers, and this could even be or you're not working on your side hustle, whatever. We are so inundated and distracted by so many different things. When we're faced with something that's challenging that we know we have to do, a lot of times our human lizard brain just wants to seek comfort and go back to what's easy. So when I was in sales, it was making a certain amount of calls every day. I would go into work and I did not want to make the calls. But if I actually sat down and knocked those calls out, then it was done and it was over and I felt accomplished. And not only that, I, managed to do it at a portion of the day where I have the most energy. And that's why this eating the frog concept is really important to understand the timing of it, because when you wake up in the morning, I always like to refer to it as having a full battery charge. And as you go throughout the day, your battery charge gets lower and lower, and then we have to go to sleep and we have to recharge the battery. And what happens is when we put these things off during the middle or the beginning of the day, we say, oh, we'll do it later. Then, you answer some emails, you catch up with, an old friend on the phone, you have some lunch, and then the end of the day comes and you're like, I really don't have the energy because your battery pack's at about half charge. So, all right, it'll wait till tomorrow. Or you kind of just struggle through it and you don't really put out your best work. That's another scenario that can happen. So what's good about the eat the frog reference is that when we do the thing that we least want to do, we're not only practicing and cultivating the habit of discipline, but when we finish doing the thing and we check that big to-do off of our list, so every day I always try to tell myself okay, what is the most important thing that I have to get done today? And as long as I get that one thing done, all the rest kind of doesn't really matter. It'll happen when it happens. Or I can put the next thing on the list at the top the following day. But this way, we're not getting overwhelmed by all the other little things because we know exactly what the priority is. The priority is eating the frog. So for instance, another example, working on the cabin, we're painting the walls. And the thing that I hate, the thing that I cannot stand doing is cutting in the friggin' ceiling. So that little edge, that seam that goes between the top of the wall and the ceiling, I fucking hate that shit. It's so friggin' tedious, but it has to get done. So here's the thing. When I go around and I start doing, cutting in the ceiling, and yes, it's a pain in the ass, and yes, it's taking a ton of time. But then by the time I get around, to the last final corner of the room, the place where I started is already dry, and now I can get that satisfaction of actually taking that big fat daddy paint roller and rolling in all that paint. And I can do it without worry because now I've got my guidelines in there, so I don't hit the fucking ceiling, because that's what I have a tendency to do. I can get sloppy. So that's how we have to think of it, is when we eat the frog, we actually end up getting these like amazing prizes, I don't know, rewards at the end of the rainbow. Because I mean, when I was in high school too, and in college, it was always get the homework done first, then you can socialize with your friends, not the other way around. So, doing the thing and then rewarding yourself afterwards. So let's say you get done with that big part of that project you were working on. Now you can maybe treat yourself to some lunch out with some friends or a little happy hour drink after work, because you've earned it. Things feel so much better after we feel like we've earned them. And once we start getting in the habit of eating the frog and feeling that sense of just intrinsic reward for having the discipline to do the thing first that we least wanted to do, again, the whole point of this podcast, we start rewiring our brains, and the internal story that we begin to tell ourselves is that I am capable. I have what it takes. I am awesome. I've got this, which is the whole fucking point of life. Is at least that's the mission that I'm on, is to change our internal dialogue, because so many of us are so fucking stressed out, and we've been conditioned because of our parents and the environment we grew up in and social media and regular news media and all this other shit that, to live in fear and, not speak our truths and all this shit. It's like, enough with that, and self-doubt and worry and stubbornness and righteousness. It's like, forget all that garbage. If I intrinsically know that I'm showing up for myself and doing and completing my number one priority every single day and showing the fuck up for myself, how am I going to walk? How are you going to walk throughout the rest of your day? And days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years, and years turn into a lifetime. So even though it's fucking hard sometimes, I'm telling you right now, when you don't want to do something, just repeat to yourself, just eat the frog. That's what I do it every morning. I do it every morning when I have to work out. I do it anytime I'm faced with something that I don't want to do. Just eat the frog, because you're going to be so thankful, and you're going to thank yourself later that you did. All right, kids, that's all I got for today. I fucking love all of you, and I hope you got something out of this episode. If you did, I encourage you and invite you to share it with somebody else who is like-minded and could also potentially get something out of the episode. And I encourage you to go out there and eat the friggin' frog, okay? All right, guys, until next time, let's dance.